Hello, welcome to This Week in Japan. I'm the Gaijin John.
I'm the Geek Tom.
And together we make up Geeks and Gaijins, and we bring you all the local news from the land of the rising sun and a bit of silly stuff as well.
Only a bit.
Still haven't worked out a good ending to that intro.
We're working on it.
We're working on it.
Give us another couple of years.
It's a work in progress. Work in progress. Well, what is also a work in progress is just the state of Japanese society in this week's episode. It's a doozy.
Oh boy. I hope you're looking forward to this one, everybody, because, well, you'll see.
I would just say, we've covered a lot of, bad stuff on this podcast, including murders, massive discrimination, inherent racism. However, there is something in this episode that is relevant to my everyday job, and it made me so angry. I don't think there has been an article we've done that has made me this angry before.
Well, discrimination super sucks when it personally affects us. So,
I know.
We got to do something about that.
This is White Man Privilege, the podcast. Ready, set, go!
I think you'll find that podcasts are inherently white male privilege.
Yeah. I will say lots of other articles made me angry, but this one just, big oof. But you'll have to wait till later to hear that. Because first of all, we have some dust-busting anime super soldier. We also have a serial killer on the loose. We have illegal maids. Take that as you will. I have something sharp and spiky to get my mush around in snack break. Then we have vaccinations. It's good news this time, we promise. And then an LGBT sit-in, and then Japanese sexism finds that once again, cheating is the only way it can survive.
It's like Boris Johnson.
Hey, but before we get into all of that, it's time for Cute Corner. It's let's be happy, and the way we be happy is with massively overpriced Japanese tat. Consume, Thomas! Consume!
Yep, that is how we cope in our modern day world. It has to be branded and it has to be exorbitantly priced.
Well, this one specifically is a Roomba. Japan is quite popular with Roombas. I find partially because there are...
Roombas, big fans of Japan, yes.
I find it's because a lot of Japanese houses don't have carpeted floors. And carpeted floors mess up Roombas a huge amount. So when you've just got hardwood floors, they're a lot easier to use. But this one, for those fans of Shingeki no Kyojin, or Attack on Titan, the English teacher in me... Oh god, I hate the title so much.
Still don't know what it means, but it seems to be doing its job, so congrats, I guess. Carry on.
Shingeki no Kyojin literally translates to, the attacking giants, or, the attack of the giants.
Which makes more sense.
Attack on Titan is literally the other way round.
John coming in with these hot takes after the fourth season of Attack on Titan has had.
Well, everyone hates the ending. They're behind me on this one, at least. This is one of the fan favourite characters, Survey Corps Captain Levi. He's a fan favourite because he's so kakui. He's cool. And he's just so, he's one of those people who's he's cool. He's the bad boy who shows no emotion. No, I've only seen Series 1 of Shingeki no Kyojin. I have no idea what the hell happens. Apart from war crimes. But he loves to clean up Titans, so they've made him clean up the floor. And also, there's a cute picture on this Roomba of him cleaning, which I think is a point in the anime where they, like, clean out a base or something. Like, do literal cleaning. This Roomba have released a Captain Levi edition, whose name is the Roborock S6 Pure Attack on Titan Captain Levi voice model.
Easy for you to say.
And no, it also, like, they use the English title on it, so they have one part of it that says Shinjeki no Kyojin, and the bottom of it is Attack on Titan. I think that's partially why it's Attack on Titan. It's because a lot of Japanese media likes to use English to look cool.
But Attack of the Titans was too difficult for people to say, or...
This comes from the land of the Go To Eat campaign and the Go To Travel campaign. Official campaigns by the Japanese government, no less. But what is so special...
I mean, to be fair, Eat Out to Help Out was not much better in terms of English. So.
At least that's actual English.
You'd expect at least that low bar, to be cleared.
You didn't have to have a French lesson in which the French teacher tells you that the government is using French wrong. So, what is so special about this Roomba, bar the fact it has a picture on it? To be honest, this is Japan. They could just be selling this Roomba for more because it has a picture on it. But no, this Roomba has 104 lines of dialogue from the anime voice actor.
Dialogue, you say? I can talk to my Roomba.
Yeah, so it will, like, make... If the Levi Roomba will talk whilst cleaning. Which sounds really annoying, but this includes... I have some translations here of lines it will say. Include, commencing cleaning of the area. I will stake my life on wiping out every speck of dust from this room. And yes, the curse there is the direct translation. Suspending cleaning. Well, if that's what you want, just make sure you won't regret that choice later. Cleaning completed. Do you see now? This is what real cleaning is. It also comes with an illustrated booklet, which contains all 104 voice samples written down.
I was going to ask, wait, who the heck wants that? But then I remembered that this is a Levi thing. And it's for Levi fans. Yeah, they would totally want that.
Yeah. For those who don't know, Levi has kind of a position in the anime fan community of just, oh god, they love him so much. However, they're going to have to love him quite a lot. Because this thing is priced at just 200 yen under 70,000 yen. It is 69,800 yen, which is about $674.
And that's before shipping if you want it outside Japan.
Oh yeah, though it is available for pre-order. Though I will say that you could just buy the normal Roomba, and that would set you back about 58,000 yen. So the voice lines are setting you back about $100.
They know their market. They know people will actually pay $100 for Levi lines.
Yeah. So go for it, guys. By the way, though, it is only available through Hikari TV shopping. But that also has an online store.
Okay.
There is also an online store. The name is confusing. This is Japan. Oh my god, it's not...
Shock twist at the end, folks.
I thought this was a design actually, like, attached, like, actually, like, painted onto the Roomba. It's not.
It's a sticker, isn't it, John?
It's just a sticker. They're stickers.
It's a sticker.
It just comes with a sticker to put on top. Oh my god! I was like, oh, did they put any effort into this? No, they did not.
Why would they?
Dear. I will say that the current price, the 57,800 yen for the Roomba, is its sale price. It seems to usually be about 65,000. So technically the Levi voice lines might actually only be setting you back around £30 or about $40. Yeah, there's a lot for a sticker. And this is coming to me, who sends every paycheck in Animate. I'm holding a small squidgy thing that, cost me about £7. Because he's a face from Golden Kamuy. Moving on. Crime Corner. Speaking of the cost of my anime addiction, it's time for Crime Corner. And one thing that many, many anime fans love, Thomas, is maids.
I am aware.
But these maids are illegal.
How?
Well, we've come down to a key point of Japanese restaurant licensing law.
Oh, yeah, baby. This is what you come to us for. It's obscure laws.
So regardless of the fact that these maids could turn into dragons, Kobayashi's Dragon Maid Season 2 is almost out. I am so excited. Also, Thomas, if you haven't been watching it, they've been releasing a 1-minute short every week.
On where?
On Crunchyroll.
On the Crunchyroll page? God, okay. I might find time tomorrow to look through all that.
There's 8 of them out at the moment, so you can watch you get 8 minutes.
Abandoning podcast. See you guys in 8 minutes.
You should really see Thomas's face was really set between that. It's I could just leave. I could just end this call. It's not that important.
We could pick this up later. What have we got to do? I've got work later today. I don't need to go right now, though.
Thomas, why were you late? Well,
no reason.
But then the boss found out, and we squeed together, and we watched it in his car. No, wait, that's
that's not a good image. That's probably not going to look good in a store investigation.
No.
Anyway, illegal maids, John.
Yes, so this is in Akihabara in Tokyo, Electric Town, the home of otaku culture, and specifically there is quite famous for its maid cafes, which are cafes, if you do not know, that you go to, you pay an extortionate amount of money for women dressed as maids to talk to you, and yeah.
Don't really know what that's about, but I mean, people seem to dig it, so
it's kind of
all right.
It's kind of a cosplay extension of host and hostess clubs, which are a common thing in Japan, where basically you pay money for people to talk to you. People say Japan has a problem with loneliness. Basically, the difference is there is a difference between licensing for a restaurant and licensing for a social restaurant. Now, social restaurants can only be open until 1 a.m. However, normal restaurants have a license that they can be open all the time because people always need food. But they're like, it's 2 a.m., 3 a.m., you can wait a couple of hours to talk to a maid. However, 1 male owner and 5 female store managers were arrested for this, for 5 different cafes. That basically they were saying, "Oh yeah, we're totally restaurants," but they weren't. They were judged to be social restaurants and therefore in violation of the Fudo-san law.
Is Fudo-san like a restaurant-based mascot, or...?
No, that's the name of the law, it seems.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so basically they hadn't got permission to be a social restaurant. And people are like, oh, what's the difference between a social restaurant and a normal restaurant? It's like, can't you just have friendly servers who talk to you and stuff, and suddenly that's a social restaurant?
This is Japan! What are you talking about?
So, not to that extent, because the main example that the article uses, which I'm kind of behind, because I'm like, how can you prove it's a social restaurant? Like, what are you talking about? So, these stores stayed open until the early morning, so violating the law, and sold carbonated drinks, so cola. Do you want to guess how much they sold these carbonated drinks for, which usually retail for around 200 yen?
Ooh, let's see, 600 yen.
You could buy one of these carbonated drinks for roughly 3,000 to 7,000 yen.
Bonkers.
No, I could not.
So the rule was, though, that the customer could enjoy talking with female employees until they finished drinking.
Okay, so yeah, that's pretty fucking obvious.
Yeah, it is.
They're not even trying to hide that.
Yeah. There's a bit like, oh, is it just like weird categorization of restaurants? No, they're specifically doing this to get around. Whenever I read something like this, I so want some, like, crazy billionaire money for a guy just to flex. Just to go in there, buy a cola or something, drink it, and leave immediately. It's like, yeah, this is what I do. I buy cola for 7,000 yen.
You know what, John? You don't need a billionaire for that. I would do that because I have social anxiety. I'm like, oh, I have to talk to people now? No, I'm just going to leave. Thanks for the drink. Bye.
Thomas, you could just go to a convenience store for that.
Yes, but what you didn't consider, John, is that I'm really fucking stupid.
Alright. Well, talking of someone who is, if not stupid, should at least probably be in jail, because this next one is absolutely terrifying. So this is a man who was arrested a couple of months ago. A 23-year-old man, so he's younger than both of us, Thomas.
Sick. Love to see the young people out and about.
Well, he was out and about killing the sacred deer in Nara Park.
No, not a fan of this TikTok trend, I'm afraid, guys. Not a good look, as the kids say.
This happened at around 2 a.m. on February 7th, and there was security camera footage. Basically, what happened, in the man's own words, while I was playing with some deer, I got angry because one of them suddenly rammed my car. I was determined to kill it, the man told police upon his arrest. And so he then got an axe from his car and, like, just straight up murdered the deer.
I feel like that was an unnecessary escalation of events. And I'm not entirely sure that counts as unpremeditated.
Unsurprisingly, the man was drinking at the time. So, Thomas, do you want to know how long a prison sentence this man has got for murdering a deer with an axe?
Double life.
He will receive a 3-year suspended prison sentence, which would originally be a 10-month prison term. So, and an awful lot of people are saying that's not a lot for murdering a sacred deer with an axe. I will say
not that sacred, is it?
couple of 100 years ago, if you harmed or killed one of these deers, the punishment was decapitation. Obviously, I'm not calling for decapitation. I'm only saying case law is important.
It's all about setting a precedent, you know?
Yeah, so many people are asking, like, why? And I was looking into, why is this guy, well, not going to prison for this quite brutal, crime? Because, I looked it up, if he had done the same to a different animal, it might have been different. So, he was not actually charged for animal abuse.
How?
Because according to the Japanese Act of Welfare and Management of Animals, you can only abuse an animal that is popular as a domestic animal and a pet for a long time. So I'm reading a Japanese article here to translate via Google Translate. So only those animals are counted as protected animals. So this is cows, horses, pigs, sheep, goats, dog, cats, rabbits, chicken, and ducks. And also mammals, birds, and reptiles if they are owned by humans. However, the sacred deer of Nara Park are not owned by humans. They're a national treasure. They are owned by the country, as it were.
Or Nick Cage, depending on which movie we're in.
And some people also get hunting licenses to kill wild deer because sometimes their populations get too large. So some people could argue that what he just did was hunting without a license, even though it's drunkenly flailing around an axe at 2 a.m. Yeah, so what he was actually charged with was violating the law for the protection of cultural properties.
Cool.
So...
Great.
I'm not saying that he could have punched out a shrine window, which is weird because shrines don't really have windows, and probably got a similar kind of punishment. I will say that animal abuse in Japan is like, especially for stray cats, is quite big. You can get up to 5 years in prison or a max fine of about 5 million yen. And these rules were amended and revised in 2019. The maximum penalty for a stray cat, though, is 1 year in prison or a fine of 1 million yen. So even then, this his punishment here is less than that.
Sorry, dear. You're not that sacred. You're not even worth as much as a stray fucking cat, apparently. So,
I'm not...
Yep, good luck with that.
And I'm not for shoving people in, like... I'm not for, like, immediately, like, sending people to jail. I don't know whether this man needs to go to jail or not. I'm not a lawyer nor a psychologist.
He needs to go to fucking therapy, John, is what he needs.
Yeah. Or at least...
Man's got anger issues.
Or at least not spend 2 a.m. on a Sunday morning drinking in a park and attacking deers with axes. I'm just saying. I know that's a lot.
It's just the one axe, John.
I know it's a large part of our listener base, but I'm willing to take this stand. Okay, this has made me depressed, so now it's time for food to keep my life going. And it is time now for uni.
Go fish. I don't know. Sure.
Uni is you could say it's a kind of fish. Well, obviously this is snack break, so this is crisps. Or rice crackers. But this is fish-favoured rice crackers, a very specific kind of fish. Thomas, would you like to describe what you can see on the outside?
It's a yellow blob stuck in some green leaves, John.
That's not a yellow blob. This is a sea urchin. Uni means sea urchin.
Sick.
These are sea urchin flavoured crisps or rice crackers. And I have had sea urchin before. I don't particularly like it, mostly because the texture is really weird.
You're probably not supposed to eat the spines, John.
I'm talking about the inside, Thomas. It's like bright orange and almost like a little gritty.
Ugh.
Yeah, it's bitty. I don't like the thing is bitty. Like, I like scallops, but yes, I will establish I am the whitest man alive. But
Look at this fancy pants man.
But no.
Scallops. What the even is a scallop? I don't know. So I'm a real person.
Well, here we have. Hopefully the texture is solved by it only being in rice cracker form. You can of course find pictures of this snack on my Instagram at @theGaijinJohn, including one of my recent purchases of a massively overpriced and a massively oversized Pokemon.
Sick.
Here we are. Let's open this up. This might be just because it's fish, but I don't know if rice crackers can go off.
How long have you had them?
I literally bought them yesterday.
I think they should be fine, John.
Yeah, no, I think that's just how sea urchin flavoured crisps smell. Ooh.
Fantastic. Gotta love that old Japanese smell.
Yeah, so it's...
You can't get it anywhere else.
So it's puffed rice. It's what you ask. Yeah, it smells grim. Here we go. Itadakimasu.
Bon appetit, John.
It's good. Why is it good?
I've never heard you so reluctant to like something in the world.
It does.
What's going on with you, John?
It doesn't smell good. The concept is not good, but it's a really nice meaty flavor, like a lot of like fishy like crisps, like prawn crackers or something, or even like the fish-based crisps in Japan. they're all a bit too like fishy and like yucky. Like you're just like, oh yeah, I am eating seawater. This is great. Whereas this is like it starts like nice and light and like a nice cracker, and then like the flavor it just gets like richer and meatier, and it doesn't like overwhelm you, and it's not like overly fishy. It's just it's good. Why is it good? Why are sea urchin crisps good?
John's just having a little snack-based existential crisis over here this week, which was not in part of the plan that we did not schedule for this. So he's still eating them. He's just popping them down because apparently they are pretty damn good. They're
really good.
My man's nearly in tears here. Doesn't know how to process this at all.
Why are you?
Oh.
I give that my sanity out of 10.
Sick.
Whether that's a high or low score, it's up for you at home to decide.
We all know it was low. We all know it. You're doing a Japanese podcast, John. It's been low for 2 years at least.
Yeah. One thing that will hopefully rise it up is Japanese people are getting the vaccine. Yay! Because, Thomas, I will tell you that right now, at the moment, a whole roughly 6% of Japanese people have had the first shot of the vaccine.
God. I mean, I would say better late than never, but what the f***?
The thing is, they're going to try and do it fast, Thomas. Because obviously the Olympics is in 2 months.
Better!
But also, the way they're going to quicken it up is an interesting way. Because, you know, they had it open to all over 65s before this. How do you think they're going to speed it up?
Stick them on conveyor belts.
I wish. No, they've just going to open it to everyone under the age of 65 at the same time.
Sick. That can't possibly go wrong. Let's f***ing do it. Yeah. Woo.
This is the thing that I'm not sure how to feel about this, because number one, yay, vaccines, woo, yay. Also, a phrase in this article slightly makes me worried, which is, while those with underlying conditions will generally be given priority.
No. No, they won't. If they do it first come, first f***ing served,
Well,
it will just be a mad f***ing rush on the first few days, like you would expect.
Well, it depends if you can even get a booking.
I wasn't even imagining that. I was just imagining Black Friday, but for vaccines.
Well,
is how this is gonna f***ing go down.
Well, if people do qualify to receive priority vaccinations, they will need to report to the municipalities independently, as the government has no data available for exactly how many people are eligible.
So you bought a massive f***off database of all people's personal contact details, but you didn't bother to f***ing check who would need a f***ing vaccine. What have you been f***ing doing?
Well, let's just say I want to be optimistic for this. Come on.
We all do, John.
Come on, Japan.
The quicker people are getting vaccinated, the better, as long as it's being done properly. But
yeah.
I feel like opening the floodgates to literally everyone under 65 all at once is just f*** it mode. They've completely f***ing given up at this point.
We will see and report on what happens. Slightly optimistic news, about 100 LGBTQ plus people and allies have been holding a sit-in protest. Well, yesterday, this was on the 30th of May, outside the front of the LDP's headquarters. This is the leading political party in Japan. And they are demanding anti-discrimination legislation and super protests about last week's remarks. That you can listen to last week's podcast for, because I'm not repeating how horrible they were.
Stick it on, man.
Yeah, so this protest is planned to last for 24 hours, and it's got quite a lot of media attention, so yay. and you also have people like calling in from all different parts of Japan to support it, which is really, really nice. I really love like when LGBT like pro stuff happens in Japan, just because like it's difficult, like it's difficult for people to do, and like it's something the younger generation is so in favor of, and also generally the population is super in favor as well. Like one of the last things I read was about 70% of Japanese women are pro LGBT marriages and stuff. And it's
I'm pretty sure the vast majority of Japanese people are now in favor of same-sex marriage.
Yeah, it's higher.
It's just the government's like...
It's higher. There's higher support in the population in Japan than there was in the US when it was legalized in some of those states. But yeah, so...
So what are you f***ing waiting for, Japan? Get on it, you slow, sorry bastard.
I mean, Thomas, we need to focus on the Olympics. And vaccination, it's important.
Why can't we just have a massive f*** off gay Olympics? We might as well at this point. Come on.
Thomas,
get with it.
Thomas, that's Eurovision.
No one watches Eurovision, John.
Thomas, I did an entire English club on Eurovision.
You what? Oh, tell me about this. I need to know this now. Tell me about the English Club Eurovision. What did you tell them? That everyone hates England and and we suck.
Well,
please. That's the important lesson from Eurovision is everyone hates England and we suck.
I asked the kids because we didn't have enough time to watch the entire 2.5-hour Eurovision.
Understandable.
I showed the kids like 1 minute to 30 seconds of every song. And the 5 members of English Club and my Japanese teacher of English each got a little thumbs up or a thumbs down. And after that, they had to rate like every country's songs as like, do they like or no like? Only 2 countries got a perfect 6 out of 6.
Nice.
Do you want to guess who they were, Thomas?
No.
All right. You didn't watch Eurovision then, did you?
I did not f***ing watch Eurovision, John.
One of them was Italy, who won Eurovision. So my English club
Fair
have
enough,
good
then.
taste. The other one was England, who came last. So UK.
They have no taste at the same time. At the same time, nothing. 0 points for your Japanese English club.
I just account that to John bias. The fact
they were just like, okay, he's here, we've got to be nice to him, say his country's good. That was the wrong answer, kids. You've learnt nothing. You've learnt nothing.
I will say
F- on your English studies, kids.
I do think that Japan would be amazing in Eurovision.
Yes.
Like massive F-off dancing with like weird cultural elements, parts of it in English, parts of it in Japanese. Just like
they're perfect for this.
They were born for it.
Okay, so our new petition is just to merge Eurovision and the Olympics now. Every country needs to get involved in this.
Yeah.
Just so we can have Japan involved, but also every other country deserves to be in on this as well.
Well,
I mean, if England's going to be in Eurovision, we need to balance the books in some capacity.
Well,
it's not fair on every other country otherwise.
Yeah, because it's like you can't really exclude Japan when other contestants include Azerbaijan, Israel, and Australia.
Hey, I'm happy to have the Australians there no matter what. The Australians have earned it on account of being Australian.
But yeah, but no, I've got slightly sidetracked because now it's time for, well, that was a piece of news that made me happy. You got slightly sidetracked because now it is time for the piece of news that has made me angriest. Oh my dear God.
Oh yeah, this one's a fucking doozy. I had to actually double check these articles because I actually thought the headlines must be misleading. Because every headline is somewhat misleading. We've all come to establish this now. This is what we all taught as kids. But no, these ones are actually pretty accurate because the story is that fuck off insane that you don't have to lie about it. It's just...
Yeah, so this is...
You tell them, John.
Well, this is something I would expect to hear from the 1800s or the early 20th century of... Girls still need higher entrance exam scores than boys at 80% of Tokyo high schools. So, for those who remember, to get into high school in Japan, which is the last 3 years of education, which technically isn't mandatory but kind of is, you need to take an exam. And you can only take one of these exams or go to, like, a private high school. Because they're all set to happen on the same day. Mainichi, who, upon doing this investigation, have found that in recent years, girls have required higher admission exam scores than boys. It's just...
Do you want to know why that is, kids?
What?
It's because all the Japanese high school girls are really f***ing good at exams.
They're smart. How dare they want to learn?
They're really f***ing smart, and they're demolishing the boys at the exams. So the schools have had to artificially change the requirements so that they can accept more boys and fewer girls. And do you know why they're doing that?
'Cause sexism?
Yes!
Yes, got it right. No, wait, that's...
If you guessed anything else, you have not been listening to this podcast long enough.
Wait, that was a bad yes. That was a bad yes.
That was a bad yes. Very bad, John.
This article specifically looked at the academic years from 2015 to 2020, 30 to 40 schools in the Tokyo Metropolitan Board of Education area, and 80% of schools had higher passing requirements for girls than boys. And this is like, these are for the same places, these are the same exams. In one case, there was an entrance exam where the perfect score was set at 1,000. And the passing grades for girls was 243 points higher.
So almost a full quarter of the exam better.
Yeah.
To score the same amount as a boy.
And in another 20 schools, girls failed despite scoring higher than the lowest scoring successful male applicant. I was reading this, I couldn't believe it was real. I was the kind of thing of like, wait, what? So apparently this is because high schools under the Tokyo Metropolitan Government are the only prefectural schools to have separate enrollment caps for male and female students. So the numbers at each high school are based on the ratio of boys to girls at public junior high schools in Tokyo. So basically they're trying to work out ways to exclude more girls from high school education. So apparently they have a corrective annual intake of 90% of the high school's intake is based on separate passing scores depending on sex, whilst the remaining 10% are decided regardless of gender. I'm sorry if I use sex and gender interchangeably in this article. I don't mean it. I'm just really bloody angry. And this system is used about 30 to 40 of the capital's 110 high schools.
Yep. There was a big scandal a couple of years ago about one of the major medical schools doing something similar to this. And there's also been records of them also changing the scores of students who have applied. They've dropped the scores of female students and people who are gap students, who I think the deal with those is that they failed the exam the first time they applied.
Yeah.
But they've also raised the scores of boys artificially as well.
Yeah.
So they're not even accurate. And once they redid the assessments, but with the names and personal identifications taken off the exams, there was a massive margin of difference. So there's been clear discrimination against applicants depending on their gender.
This is the thing in I work in a Japanese high school, so I talked to some of my Japanese teachers about it. I was like, "Is this normal?" And they were like, "God, no. At least we hope not." Because basically, what they get, and this is Todori Prefecture. What they get when they're judging students applying, they get a number, and they the student application number, maybe their name. I'm not too sure, and their grade. They don't get their gender. They don't get any other information about them. So it's basically impossible for schools in my prefecture to do this stuff because the teachers have no idea which ones are boys and which ones are girls. By the way, incidentally, my high school is 2/3 girls. So up yours, boys.
What are you doing? You're letting the side down.
But yeah, because no, it's just it's amazing about how horrible this is. Like women already have the problem women already have such a huge problem in Japanese society as a whole, in the workplace, whether they'll be passed over for promotion because, God forbid, they might have a family or have children, which apparently is something the Japanese government wants as well.
Well, yeah, but they want them to do it when they're already housewives. They don't want them to, have a career and then potentially not have children because of that career. They want them to stay at home all day so they're available for baby making whenever the time comes.
It's just
which is always.
It's literally opposite affirmative action. It's the wrong way round. I feel like I'm taking crazy pills.
No, it's just everyone else. It's just everyone in charge of these schools and the government. Because these schools have, government funding is the thing. And when that story about the medical school broke 2 years ago, there was, an investigation from the government to go, should we pull our funding over this? Which I think was pretty much just code for, let's see how long it takes for everyone to forget about this so that we can go back to business as usual.
Yeah, it's just so... that's what happened when I was talking to my teacher. I was like, is this normal? And she's like, well, there's things about, women being discriminated against in medical schools, but not in, high schools and stuff. This is ridiculous. And, I'm trying to emphasize here also how important, high schools are in Japanese, I don't want to say in Japanese culture, but in Japanese work culture. I think it's maybe a bit more the UK might be familiar with it, the idea that where you went to school is extremely important. Not just in terms of university, but high school and even sometimes junior high school. Because your high school influences then what universities will even look at you. University then, what the university then implies what jobs will even look at you. This is not, maybe, I don't know, maybe it's my view of America, that America has a big thing of waiter to CEO or whatever. In Japan, that doesn't happen. I
mean, America does have the American dream type stuff still lingering on in the background where they think, someone who goes to a standard community college could potentially still become super successful. But then again, you've got places like Yale and Harvard as buzzwords people can drop to try and prove they're better than everyone else. So it's an understandable thing all over the world, I would imagine.
And that's the thing, affirmative action is important, but not for Japanese dudes in Japan.
Can you just imagine you have to go to the hospital and you need some very important surgery, and you know that all the doctors there are some mediocre dudes who barely passed the exam but got put in place because the hospital wanted male doctors for stupid reasons, instead of some women who are actually generally very passionate and gifted at medical studies. You've got to... Whose life do you really want to put your life in? Whose hands in that situation? Do you want the best possible person, or do you want a dude because it has to be a dude?
It's just the worst part is the 20 girls who didn't get into the high school when they scored higher than the lowest getting in boy. And some people might say that oh, well, you don't want to ruin the boy's life. Like, the boy's, like, it's expected of the boy to be the breadwinner, to be the salary man. It's like, but if he can't do that, then his life is ruined. It's like, but that's just so disenfranchising and dehumanizing all the girls in this equation as well.
Yeah, how f***ing dare you? What gives you the right to rob these 20 girls and every other girl who has to go through this bullshit from their possible futures and their dreams? No one owes these boys anything just for the sake of them being boys. If they want to have a happy life, they have to do everything else everyone else goes through. And that's probably a really shitty time for them as well. But they don't get a free get-out-of-jail card just for the sake of being born.
The only thing I can really hope is, like, that these girls, like, flourish elsewhere at schools and places that actually want them. Like, and they didn't have to endure, like, these schools doing that to them. Like, because if these schools are doing that to them in the, like, valuing them like that in the entrance exam, I don't want to think what, like, the culture is like at the school itself.
Yeah. A lot of women get funneled away from, like, the sciences and stuff because they're seen as male studies still, and yet end up being pushed into, like, arts and language skills because they're, like, seen as, like, hobby type interests, which comes around to with us, where most of the translations we'll read of, like, some of our favourite works are probably done by really f***ing talented women because it's the only option they have, and they're really good at it. So if you're a fan of anything that comes from Japan, chances are it was translated by a woman.
This is just, it's like, it's so sad because it's stuff I see, because I've worked mainly at two schools in Japan. One is a generally more artsy, humanities type school, and one was a technical high school. Technical high school, up until about 10 years ago, was a boys' school. And the percentage of boys to girls was probably about 140 boys in a year to about 10 girls. Whereas the humanities...
That must fucking suck.
Yeah. And I will say, the girls who were there, best bloody students there. And at the school I currently teach, it's about, as I said, about 2/3 of the students a year are girls. It's because I don't know how you can do that to people. I really don't. It's something I don't understand. It is part of a mindset that I will never get, that is totally alien to me. The dehumanization of other people.
What was really unnerving about the whole process for me was seeing how it really maps into the whole bigger picture of everything that's going on in Japan right now. It's just frankly abhorrent sexism issue where it's like divided its genders into two different classes of people. Their expectation of women to stay at home and make babies for its declining population, the utter that all the people who actually have to work for a living have to go through on top of that. And then also the politicians turning around going, no, it is the gays who are at the fault for us not having enough children. They are the ones that have caused our population to decline. As if it's not the fact that you've made life utterly miserable for all the women, and the men also have to spend all their time at work and never see their families. And who wants to raise a family in that environment? And instead you decide to come up with invent the myth that gay people have just magically appeared in the last 50 years and haven't always been around.
Yeah.
And have always been part of your culture and society. And it's just...
On a brighter note, there's a really interesting thing about the historic homosexuality represented in Japan. It's really interesting. And homosexuality in Japanese media. We do not have time for it this week, but I'm just saying it's a much happier and more interesting topic than we can currently do right now. But yay!
Yeah.
And that, everyone, I'm afraid, is the end of the show. Or maybe a good thing. Maybe you just don't want to hear us being sadder for longer. But Thomas, if they want to hear us both sad and happy, where can they find more of us?
If you want to listen to some of the previous week's podcasts, which had slightly better moments in terms of optimism, you can go and find us on pretty much any major Podbean hosting platform. We're on Podbean, iTunes, Spotify. I upload videos onto YouTube. I'm pretty sure we're on like the Amazon Podcast Network or whatever the heck's going on over there. John knows about it more than I do, really. If you want to follow us on our social media so we can update you on what's going on whenever, or just hear us do random bullshit, John's Instagram. You can follow his food pics and other Japanese adventures. We have a Facebook where you should keep updated on when new podcasts are out. And we have a Twitter where something happens occasionally. That's mostly my fault. I apologize in advance. If you want to find any of those places, look for either Geeks and Gaijins on Facebook and Twitter, or The Geek John on Instagram and also Twitter. John, what's your Twitter like?
I'm Twitter at John Comby, also The Gaijin John. You're The Geek Tom.
That one. I don't know what's going on anymore.
Oh,
it's late.
Links.
And by late, I mean it's 11 a.m.
Links are also all in the description as well. You can also email us at geeksandgaijins@gmail.com if you just want to talk to us or recommend something you'd like to hear us talk about. And you can also give us a 5-star review on Google Maps. No, iTunes. But please, that really helps Peter. That really
give us
helps
a 3-star Yelp review. That'll make my day.
But no, and we are also on Twitch.
Chef was a bit rude.
We're also on Twitch. We stream occasionally at Geeks and Gaijins. You can watch us play stupid anime games, or I'll be streaming a bit more solo there soon as well. So make sure you pop along. You can also, if you can't watch us live, you can always watch the VODs for 2 weeks after. But yeah, thank you everyone for listening. All I want to say, just to end the podcast, is this might be some really bad news and stuff in the podcast, bad and and grumble at Japanese society as a whole. I will say the fact that this is coming out as news and as radical news, and not just everyone going oh yeah, we know that happens, that's fine. It's the fact that at least the news is going hey guys, this is happening, and everyone's oh dear, maybe there's a problem. At least it's progress.
At the end of the day, people are seeing gay people protesting on the news. They're understanding how deep the systemic sexism of the country goes, and they have absolutely fucking sick of this Olympics bullshit. So I'm pretty sure the Japanese people know what's up, generally speaking, and I think that means that there's still a brighter future possible.
Yeah.
If there's a brighter future for them, there's a brighter future for all of us.
Bright future, sparkle, sparkle, stars, sparkling stars that we will see next week in Japan. Bye.
Is that our new ED? Is Sparkling Stars our new ED?
Sparkling stars, sparkling stars. It's we couldn't afford Fly Me to the Moon, so we got Sparkling Stars.